I own Robert Rubin, and I'm not sure where the puzzle pieces are lying at this point. But I'll try to pick them up. This, I think, other than introducing and getting Dave up here, will be our last speech, so hang in there. Dave is someone who, it is not hyperbolic to say, is revered by people throughout the Bay Area in the legal community.
Pretty hyperbolic.
Yeah.
And you walk through the big law firms and people say, do you know Dave Rorick? And it's because of the genuine humility and tremendous commitment that he has to human rights that he's earned that respect and he's earned that status. And it's a real joy to see that and to see all of my friends from the Lawyers Committee over the 30 years that I was there with Dave is really a tribute to each and every one of us, because there's true love that was shared as well as a lot of hard work at the Lawyers Committee. I think that's a tribute to the institution that I'm very proud of. But Dave, one characteristic that I'm not sure was mentioned, Dave is a real risk taker. Like his clients who are risk takers who have come fearing persecution and risk their lives coming to Dave. And when he deals with them with a compassion and a commitment that is really unrivaled. And this risk-taking is sort of manifests itself in a number of ways. One of which I'd like to relate to you real quickly was one day it was 85 or 86, it gets a little blurry. It wasn't blurry because of the crop of Dave. Dave comes into my office and says, Robert, we got to go to El Salvador. I said, El Salvador, it's 85, 86, there's rampant death squad activity down there. Do we really need to go? How about if I go in and ask Mark if we'll pay for an Amnesty International human rights report? Would that satisfy you? No, we've got to go to El Salvador. And you've got to convince the big law firms that they've got to send a representative. And we're going to go down there and meet with the Attorney General and the head of the Supreme Court, and we're going to challenge them on the human rights abuse. And you're going to lead the delegation. That risk he wasn't willing to take. And we did that. And with Dave's assistance, we made an impact until the day that he disappeared in the sea, swimming off to God knows where, and threatening the lives of many. Though he saved some, he threatened others. But Dave is Dave, and he does. You'll get your chance. And he doesn't change. I mean, look at those khakis he's wearing.
This morning.
It could be 1983.
I do 53.
But what I'd like to do is I'd like to offer a toast to Dave. Would you come up here, Dave?
Party hand clash.
Party hand class.
There was a reason for that.
With Dave's favorite drink. And the luncheon after. If you would do the duty.
I have some of my Italian friends back.
Well, I'm from New Jersey, so I can deal with that. Yeah. I got that on the one side. So, as we raise our glasses and toast to Dave, I'd like to honor Dave with the words that we are privileged to be with you, to know you, to have worked with you, to have advanced the cause of human rights for people around the world. And I leave it with a blessing that the Lawyers Committee should find someone of your stature, of your commitment, to carry on the incredible work that you've left us. It's a proud legacy. And one that
That's a good segue for some lessons I can point out here.
Lawyers Committee did more for me than I've done for anybody. Lawyers Committee gave me a role that I could play with all of you to put us all together and get the job done that Robert, Mark Vanderhout, the AILA Bar, American Immigration Lawyers Association, and the corporate bar. We have our Representative Bob Borton back there, who with Wynn Carville, Ken Seeger, Jane Fleming, people got the program off the ground by pulling people together and asking them to cooperate on an equalitarian level. I think we established that quite well. And it was, I was glad to be there. I didn't know what lawyers were really. I didn't know what the law practice and the way of life was. And just like when I came in there, I had no idea about how to perform. Mark Silverman told me everything. He really made me irritable. But I kept cool because I was learning. And so I spent a whole lifetime learning thanks to you. And what we have here, hi David. David Wright. Actually, tonight it turns out to be an AILA Lawyers Guild immigration feast, and I'm happy and I'm glad for that, because the bar here has been the most beautiful, supportive, cohesive gang of people in all aspects of immigration for people, and therefore they're very willing to help our program recruit more people from outside immigration to do asylum. And we started out with that huge flood of people. Mark Silverman didn't use the term deportations on death flights, but that's what they were called. Salvador, Guatemala. Judge Simpson scorned us because we weren't representing National Guard people from Nicaragua.
They didn't need it. They got a free ride.
Yeah, they were getting in, yeah. But Lawyers Guild and AILA and Mark Vanderhout got immigration and the U.S. government by the jugular and made them yield by 1990, and we could start over. Karen Masalo, meantime, went to the Balkans and saw rape as a political weapon. And now we have Center for Gender and Refugee Studies. And Sharon Dahlberg of McVeigh, Mullery and Dahlberg, Mike Mullery is here. He's a founding member of our advisory council that we had to keep us connected to the community in those days. Sharon Dahlberg and Roger Dowdy of Heller Ehrman went out barnstorming in the late 80s with the new IRIRA, or was it IRIRA that gave us that really tough deadline for asylum? And there are lots of LGBT persons who could apply for asylum, but nobody knew because that kind of case was being advanced only at that time. And a lot of people had no idea. And Sharon Dahlberg, Roger Dowdy, and others started a outreach program that took 2 years to actually produce a client flow. But that point has been made. Gender and domestic violence has been made. Karen and Center for Gender and Refugee Studies cases that are presidential came from Lawyers Committee volunteers. I had hoped that we'd have corporate practice attorneys here in some number tonight so we could really celebrate that we have a big family of lawyers that is multi-generational. And we started out with the boost from mentors, but we saw the firms develop their own cadres of real expertise. And so Wilson Sonsini and Latham, and before there was Reed Smith, there was Crosby Heafy and Ken Seeger, had the best damn group of people working with each other to advance each asylum case. So now the law schools, every student knows asylum. When you get to a law firm, if you have a chance of getting a job, the law firms know asylum is something that they need to offer lawyers. And so the point's been made, but now we have a new kind of floodgate. The attorney was talking about his case yesterday. He won in court, and he wondered about domestic violence and floodgate. But we have to remember the Ninth Circuit footnote. Shouldn't all women in Guatemala be considered a particular social group because of the danger they're in?
That's right.
Yeah, same thing goes for all the battered women, well, throughout the world, anybody who can get to us so that we have a chance to help them. This is a wonderful evening, and I'm glad we're at Keker and Van Ness because they have roots in many ways with all our programs, and they certainly have done us a great honor in feeding us like this. Thank you. I'm proud for the cooperation. I just want to say that my two peak moments at Lawyers Committee were when somebody left some cardboard moving stuff, a big box, and I took a felt pen and drove a life-size man on it, waving, and I put it up in front of Eva's door and knocked and ran. And the other time was when we were in El Salvador having lunch in an outdoor cafe, and I stepped onto the street, and Robert had his back to me, and I stuck my finger in his ribs and made him jump. Now, Mike Smith, will you please close out the evening by, I asked Mike to kind of put a soft edge on this. Remember, Byron Park said to me, "You're worse than the INS." Because all this stuff about compassion. I had to learn compassion at the Lawyers Committee.
Well, this is another of Dave's bad decisions. He didn't tell me about this until after I got here and had a couple glasses of wine. So I don't really know what to say. I heard there's been a lot of really nice things said about Dave tonight, and I would just like to say that they're all lies. And I'm a little annoyed at Karen for using the term curmudgeon in describing Dave, because I would like to do that. Or Robert, who gave Dave the ultimate insult and said that Dave is Dave. People said that Dave has great compassion. I remember once, somewhere in the 80s, when he left an anonymous hate message on our phone machine, talking about I can't use all the words he used, helping illegal immigrants. And people said he's very intelligent and very culturally sensitive. Well, people who said that have never seen him at El Picaro, when he's had a couple glasses of wine and tries to sing corridos.
This is becoming a roast, huh?
Yeah. So, I don't remember when I first met Dave or talked to him. It was back in the 80s, but the late 80s. I'm just a young guy here compared to Mark and
Thanks. Can you love and Karen with me? She's not going to be happy.
But, you know, events like this just remind me of how great this area is. And there are so many people here who have worked really hard through the years to help people who really deserved help. I mean, there's the Lawyers Committee, there's the ALA, there's all these great pro bono programs with these attorneys here. Jerry Gray here started Survivors International to treat the victims of torture. I mean, this is just really a great place to be. And Dave is a really big part of that. He helped get this going. And I think for that, we all owe Dave a really big round of applause and maybe another brindis.